It started with a phone call I didn't expect and paperwork I never signed. I was sitting on the balcony of my own bedroom apartment sipping cold coffee and trying to mentally prepare for another day of underpaid overtime at tech support center when I got a notice from a mortgage company I didn't recognize. It said my loan had been approved for $200. Oh, please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where you're watching this video. At first I laughed. I thought it was a scam. I'd never apply for a mortgage. I could barely afford groceries. But when I looked closer, the documents have my name, my social security number, my address history, my signature, everything matched. I felt a chill run down my spine. I called the bank immediately. The woman on the line told me the loan had already been approved and closed for weeks ago. That's when I say the words I didn't know would unravel my entire family. Can you tell meth property address tied to that loan? The woman paused, then read it out loud. It was the same suburb where my sister Akil had just moved. She posted a photo last month, smiling in front of our story house with a sold sign. I'd even commented on it. Congratulations. How exciting. She had replied, thanks sissy, you'll have to come visit soon. It hadn't realized she meant my house. I didn't call her right away. Instead I drove to the address. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely grip the steering wheel. It was a beautiful house, white columns, landscaped yard, brand new porch swing. My sister's car was parked in the driveway. I knocked. She opened the door like it was any normal day. Hey, you were early. I was just about to make a coffee. I didn't even step inside. I held up the bank letter. Her face drained off color in an instant. I can explain. I cut her off. You used my name. I credit you stole from me. Rachel glanced around nervously, like the neighbors might hear. Don't be dramatic. It's not stealing if we're family. Then came the worst part. Had the audacity to say you weren't using your credit anyway, and I needed somewhere to live with Jack. You're just renting. It's not like you could have afforded it. My vision blurred. I stepped back, stunned. That night I told me parents everything. I thought for once they'd take my side, but instead they asked me to stay quiet. Your sister's going through a lot right now. My mom said this could ruin her. She's just trying to build a future. Dad added, do you really want to mess that up over a technicality? A technicality? That's what they call identity fraud. I asked them, what if I get in trouble? What if I'm held responsible for the loan? What if she defaults? My father just shrugged. We raised you to be responsible. You'll figure it out. And me mother, she said something I will never forget. Don't be selfish. Honey, she's the one who always needed more help than you. They made it clear I was not the daughter they protected. I was daughter they used as collateral that weekend. I tried to visit Rashalaga, not to fight, but to speak calmly to make her fix what she did. She opened at the door, looked me dead in the eye and slammed it in my face. But not before saying, you're not welcome here. I don't tell you anything. And that's when I made a silent promise to myself. She may have taken my name, but I was about to take back everything she thought she owned. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Rachel grinning in that doorway, shrugging me off like I was a speck of dust on her perch, and my parents the same people. Wounds called me their strong, responsible girl, treating me like I should just carry this betrayal on my back. But I wasn't going to shout or fight or beg. I was going to get smart. First I went to the bank and asked for a fraud investigation. They were skeptical at first, until I brought in old samples off me real signature, the one Rachel had forged on the mortgage documents. It was closed, but it wasn't me. They opened a file. I filed a police report to quiet like carefully. Next I visited a lawyer and a nonsense woman named Janine, who after skimming the loan agreement and my police report looked up and said, oh honey, this is going to get messy for her. Over the next few weeks I gathered everything, screenshots of Rachel's social media, bragging about her new home, a printout of the closing documents, a copy of my own rental contract, and paycheck history proving I never applied for or received a loan. Witnesses who could vouch I was working the day she supposedly signed those papers. And then he waited. I didn't warn her. I didn't post a line. I let her hang herself. Meanwhile I kept up appearances. I still went to work. I still called my parents on Sundays. Though the calls were brief and filled with fake smiles, my mother kept saying things like, Rachel's doing so well, she's finally finding herself. And my father even mentioned helping her plan a baby room upstairs, a baby room in my name. The irony was painful. Then Kenneth letter the results of the fraud investigation. They confirmed what I already knew, that the signature wasn't mine, that there were inconsistencies in the paperwork, and that Rachel could be held legally and financially liable. Jenny moved fast after that. She filed a formal legal complaint, identity theft, fraud, falsification of financial documents, and then she took it one step further. I'm going after the property, she said, because it's in your name, which means technically it's yours. I wasn't. I hadn't even thought that. Fair, you mean I could take the house? Jen netted eyes sharp. You're the legal owner. Forged your identity. That means she has no rights to it once we move through the court process if you wanted it, sires. It took 3 months, 3 very quiet, calculated months. I never responded to Rachel's texts. Not that she sent many, and never told my parents what I was doing. They assumed I'd let it go, that I'd followed orders and stayed silent, that I was as always a mature one. Then Kenneth, hearing Rachel, showed up to court in a beige trench coat and sunglasses like she was a victim of paparazzi. Her lawyer looked like he had never seen a single piece of actual evidence. Because there wasn't any, I had everything. The judge took one look at the signature zone, listened to the fraud investigator's testimonium, and granted full ownership of the house to me. Rachel screamed in the hallway after the decision. You ruined my life. You stole it from me. I looked her in the eye and said calmly, you stole my name. I just took back what was mine. But story didn't end there. A few hours after the verdict, I got a phone call from my mom. She was sobbing. Your sister's pregnant. Where is she going? Togo. You have the house now. Please don't evict her. And I answered with the same words my father gave me months ago. She's the one who always needed more help than remember. Then I hung up. I had waited so long for justice. Now I was going to test it. The first thing I did when Thekor transferred the house to me was change the locks. Rachel was still living inside for a few days while the paperwork process, but the moment everything was final, I arrived with a locksmith court order in hand, and a police officer standing by. Justin Kasesh came flying out of the house in slippers, mascara streaked across her face, screaming, you can't do this, I'm family. The officer looked at her and said, ma'am, you're trespassing on someone else's property. You need to leave. Rachel broke down on the front lawn in full view of the neighbors' shoes to boast to about her big homeowner dreams. They watched from behind curtains as she sobbed and begged. The same woman who had once slammed a door in my face left that day with a garbage bags and a ride from our mother. I watched them drive away from the porch, not out of cruelty, but because that was the only way they would ever understand I wasn't going to be the silent one anymore. The following week, I got a message from my father. It was short, blunt, and disgusting. You could have helped your sister. You didn't have to humiliate her. This family is ashamed of you. So I did what I'd been holding off for months. I sent them the full paper trail, every forged document, every police report, every legal response, and the bank's fraud department summary clearly stating that I could have been held legally responsible had I not stepped in. Then I wrote, she wasn't the only one who betrayed me. You both did. And you laughed while it happened. You are no longer my emergency contact. You are no longer in my will. And you will never again have access to anything. Tito, my name, I blocked their numbers, but I wasn't finished. See, I wasn't planning to keep the house. It was beautiful, but I didn't want to live in a place soaked in lies and pity. So instead I put it up for rent. And not just to anyone. A young single mother applied. She just escaped a financially abusive relationship, had a baby girl, and was working full-time while studying for her nursing degree. She didn't have a perfect credit score, but her references glowing. I accepted her instantly, lowered the rent, and I didn't ask for a deposit. When she cried on the phone, I told her I'm just paying for word what no one gave me when I needed it. She moved in 3 weeks later. After that, Rachel showed up at that property with her new boyfriend. She washed up to see a new tenant living inside. She tried to argue with the young woman at the door until I walked up the driveway and greeted them both with "Ask me looking for something?" I scheduled calls, face twisted. This is my house. They paid for it. No, I said gently. I paid the consequences for your fraud. Now it's someone else's safe place. Then I turned to the woman at the door who was holding her baby and smiled. Don't worry, told her. They won't be bothering you again. Rachel stormed off in a rage. Her boyfriend followed, confused and humiliated, but I wasn't done. I used their money to pay off the legal fees, even started building my saving, something I hadn't been able to do for years, while helping my family, covering for their mistakes, letting them guilt maintain silence. Eventually my parents Trito come back. They left a voicemail. We're getting older. Maybe it's time to let go of the past. We miss you. I let the message sit unanswered, just like they did with my pain, because I had already found a new kind of family, one made of boundaries, peace, and truth. My sister used my name to buy her dream house, beauty. In the end, I used the truth to build a future no one could take from me. Again, please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this.